Everyone, it's Clint. Welcome to Sweetcast. Happy Friday, everyone. I put a little bit more effort into this video. Not a lot more effort, just a little bit more. Don't get too excited. But I saw this post on Twitter. This is from your boy Zach. He said, "Don't break into the comic book industry, break free from the comic book industry." Now, if you've been following my channel for any length of time, my story has always been that I want to break into comics, and that through crowdfunding, this could be a new route to break into comics. Uh, I don't really say that anymore because now I've got 2 published books. I've got a publishing deal with Alterna. I'm on my 3rd crowdfunding campaign, which is just crushing it. And I'm still not inside the industry. If you're talking about comics as an industry, I'm not inside like the traditional industry. But the more that I've sort of learned about the traditional industry, the more I learned that writers don't matter. A lot of the focus is on artists all the time, and I understand they do so much work. They're so underpaid. Their talent is monumental. I don't want to understate an artist's contribution at all, but it seems like most artists working in comics have to have a regular job because they don't get paid jack. And sometimes they're just working for free, or they're paying for, a lot of times they're paying. Like if you're going to do an image book, you're out of pocket paying money to get your book made. For example, like Jim Zub would tell stories of. So I'm going to get into a few different things in the current industry and how to sort of break out of comics as opposed to breaking into comics. Before we get into that, though, let me show you Fatal. This is launching, or not launching, it has launched on Indiegogo just, a few days ago. We're already at $32,000. I'm gonna refresh this actually. $32,000, 551 with 581 backers. This is fantastic. This is seriously some of the best art that you will see in comics, period. And it's not happening in the traditional in comics. So this totally goes with my video here today. But yeah, if you haven't backed it yet, check it out. There's I know everyone wants this wraparound cover because it's gorgeous. Check out the other stuff too, especially this artist edition. This would be a great one to have because then you get to have Charlie's artwork in beautiful black and white and just enjoy it. So yeah, get in there and back it. It's payday. All right, so I'm gonna milk this for all it's worth. I love it. I'm not the artist on Fatal at all, but I take this sense of pride every time I hear Charlie's artwork get complimented. It makes me feel good. I like it. This is Brett Booth again. He said, "I saw this earlier. So much energy in the art." And then you have fans asking for him to crowdfund a book, him to do his own. And he'll say, "Yeah, looking into the sites right now, but I need to talk to some fulfillment places." They will take all your money. They will leave you broke if you do a crowdfunding campaign and have a fulfillment company take care of it for you. Though I do hear John Malin is doing a fulfillment company that has crazy low prices for a fulfillment company, but you have to be careful with those places because they will rob you blind and destroy your books while they're at it. And so let me see other things he's saying. "Yeah, I know it's virtually nothing about this. I know virtually nothing about this, so it's learning from scratch. I want to maximize sales so I can use any excess for future projects, but I also want it fairly simple since it's all new." Yeah, I mean, of course, that's all really good stuff for crowdfunding. The thing is, though, it's this: I know virtually nothing. And part of that is what makes it so scary. The strange thing is that when you're outside of the industry, getting into the industry is the scary part, because basically what it comes down to, it's who you know. I'm sorry, but it is. You got to know an editor that wants you to be working for their company or working on a book, and they're going to basically get your foot in the door. And as long as that editor's working there, you're going to have opportunities. Once they get fired, you're done. You got nothing. You're going to have to go find a new relationship with the editor. That's rough because you have one point of failure. When it comes to crowdfunding, you have hundreds, thousands of points of failure, and each of those is an individual backer that you are either failing or succeeding at selling them a book. Okay, so it's actually less risk. But obviously you want to learn what you're doing, but it's not really rocket science. It's just it takes some dedication. But doesn't it take a lot of dedication to get into the comic book industry? It's just that you're putting your fate in somebody else's hands, and that is frightening. Let's see. Again, come on, let's get your book up and running. Join the club. He says, working on it. We have work that takes up the majority of my time, so researching takes a bit longer. Okay, so you kind of see these same things. Meanwhile, do you know what's happening in the comic book industry? I'm gonna pull this over here for you. I'm trying to pull this over here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm blocked. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I'm blocked on Twitter by Jordan D. White. He's a editor at Marvel. What is it? Senior editor in charge of X-Men. He's got me blocked, probably because I mildly made fun of his ukulele videos. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but okay. So now this is at the same time. There's so much going on at Marvel Comics. They've decided to double down on tons of variant covers, just ridiculous amounts of variant covers. And then at the same time, they're going to be having all of these events happening at the same time that it gets confusing. All during during a pandemic, right after most of the whole entire country has been shut down. So Jordan D. White has to come out and explain what the heck is going on. He says, so here's the deal with X Factor shipping schedule. When X of Sword has begun, it was a 1-month story that ran in every book. Then the pandemic hit and the shipping stopped and things were in a bit of upheaval. At the same time, as the publishing schedule was shifting, we decided to make XOS, I don't even remember which that one is. That's okay. X of Swords, whatever. XOS bigger. We expanded the numbers of chapters to fit the growing story. It's basically a 2-month story now, but it gets more complicated. In expanding it and looking at the plans, we decided that the second month wouldn't be as good a fit for X Factor. We didn't want to put out a non-XOS X book while it was still happening. So there's an extra issue of X-Men Excalibur and Marauders in November, but no X Factor. You see how this is getting confusing. It was tough enough for me. I was went to my comic shop and put literally one book on my pull list. One book, that was it. And they could not get that right at all. It took me going back 4 times to make sure I had the book on my pull list because they weren't sure of when things were actually coming out. It's been a mess. I cannot believe it. All right, so things are coming out in October. All right, so I'm going to jump to the end here. Here's the TLDR. X Factor is not going anywhere. All right. So this is confusing to a lot of people. It's really, really confusing, and that's a bad idea. Getting new readers. What about getting new readers into comics to break into reading comics at this time? It's just such a hurdle. Versus, here's a new story. You can just buy it and you get the story, and maybe it would continue, but the problem is Marvel has made things so complex, and has been their business model. Events, tie-ins, extra titles, and then they have to push things back, pull things forward, what's canceled, what's not canceled. The whole thing gets so confusing that if it takes people that much effort to get into your book, it's a problem. The industry is full of this kind of stuff. From the creator standpoint, it's incredibly complicated. Not only are you relying on one person to make sure that you have work, you're also you're relying upon a creative team. You're relying upon sales numbers that you don't always have control over. You're relying on the editorial staff deciding what you can and can't write. There are so many issues as to why the mainstream comic industry just doesn't really make sense. So for me, creator owned is the way to go. I have no plans ever, honestly, ever, to try and write a different property. Every once in a while, I think, oh, it'd be really cool to do like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle story. It's not worth it, guys. It's just not worth it. Uh, Making your own stuff, breaking into comics is not as glamorous as it seems. Uh, so if I had a story now for this stage in my comics, I want to call it a career. I don't know what to call it. It's not really a career, I feel like, yet. But my comics creation process, it wouldn't be breaking into comics. It would be building something out of comics. I don't know. That's the best I can do. Anyway, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this content. Don't forget to check out Fatal. If you got paid today, it's a great time. Like, I know that life is busy, but click the link below, back it, and that'll help us get to our next stretch goal, which is, let me get to the updates here. This is the biggest news. I kind of buried the lead here. $40,000 stretch goal. When we hit $40,000, we're going to add a fan art section. And included in that fan art section is going to be your art. So here's the challenge. You're going to pretend that you are Flynn. You have an intergalactic alien extermination job. You're a blue collar guy, and your job is to go around exterminating aliens. What would your ads look like? Give us a great tagline. Do a picture of an ad. I don't care how accomplished of an artist you are. Everyone participate, and then that way you can post it on social media. You can also email it to me, and the two winners, Charlie and I, will each pick a winner. Whoever impresses us, and if you're selected, you'll get $100 gift card, and your ad will be placed into the book. You'll be printed in it. You'll be published along with us. So if you want to try that out, do it. You've got a week to start putting in submissions. I want to see those on social media. So thanks very much. I appreciate everything that you guys do, and I will see you in the next video.